All right, and welcome along. This is the ROONS MIZZ podcast. I'm ROONS.
And I'm Miz.
This is our Arsenal podcast where we talk about all things Arsenal. We love the Gunners. This is episode 2, like Attack of the Clones, coming at you.
Here we are, live and ready to go.
And today we're going to talk about a couple things. We'll start with the Community Shield. Then we'll move on to the latest signing, Gabriel. Then we're going to talk about transfers in general, transfers and rumors. And then finally, the first game against Fulham, Craven Cottage, coming up September 12th. Can't wait.
North London,
Kick it off with,
London derby to start the league.
We always do well at Craven Cottage. I feel like that's a place we go when we feel like it's practically a home field against a team that we're always better than, no matter what. So I expect a good showing there.
I think you're right. I think we'll have a decent start to the season. Should be, way we've been playing, the form that we find ourselves in. Should find some good rhythm on the first day.
It'll be exciting. So, I mean, it's going to be a crisp autumn morning on that Craven Cottage field. Starting 11, we'll get to see who's playing, who's putting in there, what formation. It's going to be real exciting.
Yep. Saw some training pictures today. Willian and the team, even Mesut Ozil was in some of those. So we'll see if
looks like he was sleepwalking out there.
Takes the bench again, or not even gets dressed. Yeah. So, what did you make of the Community Shield? How do you think that game went? How our performance? That Liverpool team seemed to play a strong team.
Yeah, a lot of intriguing things came from that, I think, because first of all, when you see the starting lineup and you see a 3-4-3, not a very common formation, no number 10. You got Xhaka and El Neni starting. Maitland-Niles left midfield. There's kind of a lot of question marks there just looking at that lineup. Yeah. Like, I don't know what this is, what's going to happen. And Agreed. It turned out that we actually played really well. And El Neni, I thought, was a standout who did his role to perfection, I thought. Xhaka also did well. You had Ainsley Maitland-Niles as the man of the match. And then we beat Liverpool. At the end of the day, it's a Community Shield. It doesn't count for anything. It is a trophy. It's not a major trophy. But we straight up beat Liverpool. And they had Mane. They had Salah. Firmino.
Firmino. They all played. They played a strong team. They didn't.
Yeah.
They tried to win that game. They couldn't.
For sure.
We opened them up in a number of areas, and just with that goal of Aubameyang scoring, you saw how quick from back to front we played, and switching field really just kind of exposed the back of Liverpool. And I don't think they were ready for that type of attack that Arteta had set up and system that we were playing. Agreed. El Neni, not a player you expect to perform the way he did. And, I've never really rated him, and surprised me last Saturday. Was a bit stunned that he was as effective as he was.
No, I think we had both written him off. I think all the fans had written him off.
Yep.
Basically, we didn't know why he came to the team in the first place under Wenger. He didn't play horribly, but then he didn't really feature. And then he was sent away. He just kind of faded away. And then when he's coming back, you're like, oh, he's still on the team? Like we hadn't sold him. We hadn't gotten rid of him. So to see him in the starting lineup was a little bit disconcerting because you're like, I thought this guy was dead weight.
Gone. Yeah. He's one of those players, like he not horrible, not great either, just kind of forgettable. And I think, how many years he was in this squad, I just don't really ever remember him in any memorable moments doing anything spectacular or resounding for him to warrant any type of role in the team. So definitely shocking. Still think he'll probably move on just to cut some dead weight. I can't imagine him sticking around, but either way, like at least he was effective in that game. Maybe we'll get some money for him.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple times where he just did a couple neat touches in the middle of the park in traffic to get it out of space and play it out to someone out wide. And it's like, That's really all we need him to do.
Sure, his distribution was like solid enough where it just was out and good, and he could keep playing, and the game moved on. He was effective in there to just make it work and got the game going.
Which is what you need in defensive center mid. Like, you need players that can break up the other team's play, get it out of traffic, distribute it out, get the offense going, which both
Exactly.
him
Yeah.
and Xhaka did really well.
Exactly. Yeah. They both played well in that game. I mean, I think our overall structure and team fluidity of how they're setting up against teams is working. I mean, I the whatever you have to say about Arteta, or good or bad, I mean, you can't deny the fact that he's getting some results from some big teams. We've beaten the last three big teams we played: Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, all in a row. I think that warrants some respect in general.
And
We
then
talked about it.
Liverpool again.
And Liverpool again, we beat them. Yeah, at some point he's going to start getting noticed on those things, and all they got to do is start the league off well, win a couple games. We're right in the mix there. Just don't drop as little points as possible throughout the fixture list, and we have a pretty decent fixture start. So for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, and I think like teams like Liverpool, City, they were used to playing an Arsenal team that had basically already lost before they stepped on the field. There were times in the past 5 years or so where we'd go and play a big team, and it just looked like we were mentally checked out. We'd give up 2 goals quickly and then try to fight back for a tie, end up losing, but mentally they weren't there. And the other teams knew this, they're like, if we press them and put them under pressure, they're going to cave.
Yeah.
So they go into a game like that, and then all of a sudden this Arteta side is like, no, we're going to press you. And they're like, whoa, what do we do now? And I think for at least maybe a couple more months, we'll have that surprise factor of teams being like, oh, crap, we weren't expecting this. Not from Arsenal. They're usually just trying to play nice and smooth and don't want to get into confrontation. And you have this Arteta side who's like, we're going to attack you constantly. It's great to see.
It is. And not just like an attacking force that you like to see, but they're also well organized, and they track as well. They look more shirt up in the back in general.
For sure.
I don't know if that just comes with defensive, and put things in place that they have. But even the goalkeepers improved. I mean, Emiliano Martinez shows that he's a guy that you might want to keep at the club. I know that there's some talk of him leaving, but I think that's one we should maybe hold on to. And he's been there a long time. Don't just let him go after a couple half a season in goal and does well. Him and Leno competing for the same spot is going to improve both of them. So that makes the whole team work better, has more structure. As they're going forward in attack, they're also organized. So
definitely.
Yeah.
You could see how compact they were, moving as a unit. Even I saw a couple times Nketiah would be like, I'm stepping to this guy, and then it moves around, and then he moves to the other guy. Like, he knows in his head, even Nketiah, the center forward, is like, okay, I got to move off the ball defensively, not only on offense, but defensively as well. And it goes back to that whole Pep Guardiola style of 11 players defend.
Exactly.
When you don't have the ball, 11 players are defending. And that's what suffocates teams.
Yep, the whole team's involved. It's most effective if the team is pressing and dropping together. And you're starting to see that almost a total 90 type football, and how they're working. Everybody's working hard off the ball. That's why I just don't see Mesut Ozil getting into that team, because you see the way that they played against Liverpool. Where would he fit into that scenario of not he's not going to play that style. He's not working hard enough.
There's no room for nonchalance in that total 90 football style. And yeah, I agree totally. Even if he's, sorts out all the drama off the field, where does he slot in? I mean, we didn't even play with the number 10 in that formation. So where's the room for him? And then if you're playing that style and you have even one player not defend, then it's 10 players defending, not 11, and everyone's out of position.
Yeah, and you're opened up somehow. There's a gap somewhere. And definitely going to be some space on the field that they're going to exploit. And a team like Liverpool will do that to you. It was impressive watching that game because I never felt that we were not in the game or kind of in control of the team that just smashed the league, that dominated everybody. And we looked very capable of being in that game and, if not, open them up in a lot of ways. They looked on the back foot the majority of the game. I didn't think we started the best. The first 10 minutes looked a bit shaky. Thought this could be a day where we kind of fall apart here. Maybe
They scored
lose
that
this game.
goal that was called back
Yeah,
offside.
yeah. You thought we maybe could lose it. That could be a day where we lose the Community Shield 3-0 or 3-1 or something like that. And it didn't turn out to be that way. I think Liverpool were even a bit fortunate to find themselves in penalties because we were more of the dominant team and the team that always looked more likely to win.
Yeah, for sure. And even when they had their spells of possession, they were never dangerous. I mean, Martinez had a couple good saves against Mane, but even they weren't able to penetrate the Arsenal back line or the midfield the way they had been in the past, to where we weren't under pressure constantly, even if we didn't have possession. And that was yeah, like it wasn't like we had scored a goal and we we're just hanging on for dear life, playing 90 minutes of defense to try to get through this one-off match and win. We actually look like, no, we can hang with them. You know, it's like not quite where we're dominating a team like Liverpool, but if we can hang and have moments where we are dominating, that's a huge step forward. And with the team that we have right now, or with the team that they fielded, like that's a really good sign against a top team. So if you play against, Fulham, you're going to expect to blow them out, I would say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. I think if we put some similar form together that we've been putting together, it looks like a first win on the season. Can't imagine Fulham being able to hang with the way that we've been performing. That and then that game, notably, Niles, like you said, man of the match on his birthday, played really well. Was getting a bid from Wolves that we discussed last week, and I think it relinquished some of that interest. It looks like he might be staying now after some turn of form and some performances that he's put in, and I guess we could see where that goes and see how he can improve. With Bellerin considering to leave, he might be a player that steps up and plays in that right back full time.
Yeah, well, I think you saw a couple things like with Niles where it's like we're not getting a blowout bid for him.
Yeah,
there's no reason to sell him. Even wait a year. I don't know what his contract is at the moment, but
I think he still has a few years on his deal.
Yeah.
When I looked recently,
if we're not, for 17 million, or even, I'd say, hopefully he has a great season this year, and then we either keep him or we sell him for way more, and then hopefully the coronavirus thing blows over and people aren't trying to sell players for just peanuts like they are now. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it to get a small fee for him and move on, especially when he showed and has shown in the past few big games that he can step up and be an asset to the team. So
absolutely,
that was a big moment for him on his birthday, man of the match. Like he kind of showed like, this is why I deserve to stay here. And even that sentiment right there is what Arteta has brought to the team, where it's like, go out there and prove that you deserve to play by doing something on the pitch. And that was totally missing for so long. With the tail end of Wenger, and Unai Emery had it a little bit better in spells until he completely lost the dressing room. But there's this feeling of like, Ozil's like, I'm Ozil. I'm going to play. I'm going to start. I don't need to get goals. I don't need to get assists. I don't need to track because I'm Ozil. I'm a star. I'm going to play. And now it's like, if you don't show something, you might get sold. We'll sell you to Wolves.
Yeah, you have to perform under this system, and the way that Arteta has come in is given everybody a fair chance. I think if you do perform under him, you're going to get an opportunity, no matter who it be. And I you'd like to see something from Mesut Ozil, but unfortunately, I think that's probably too far gone. Yeah. I guess we'll only see. He's in training right now. Hopefully, he can move on. Yeah, but great win, really good game. It was really
Oh, perfect timing.
yeah, perfect timing on to Gabrielle.
On to Gabrielle. So finally, just sealed him, signed him, delivered him. He's going to be playing for Arsenal. No doubts about it. No more linked. No more, oh, there's talks. The talks are going well. He signed the ting. He's there. He's with his Brazilian mates. We
Yeah,
have
a little
two
Brazilian crew
solid,
there.
yeah, Brazilian contingent
Yeah, all
and
four
two
of them,
solid center backs.
all four of the Brazilian players we have are good ball handlers. I watched some, wanted to know what we were getting into with Gabriel, so I watched a bunch of videos about him. Looks quality, strong, sturdy, can tackle, can dribble, can shoot, can head, and looks an all around defender. I didn't see a lot of weaknesses there. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like it's kind of hard scouting a defender, because you kind of pretty much have to watch the team throughout a season to get a sense of is that a good defender or not. Sometimes if they're imperious, like Virgil van Dijk or something, you're just like, yeah, that guy's good. He wins every header, tall, can play with the ball. But Gabriel looks like he's tough, like you said, wins tackles, doesn't let passes go through, doesn't let shots go through, tenacious.
defense smart. You don't see a lot of. I really like what he does in the box. I haven't don't you don't see as many defenders doing this, and he's intelligent. He puts his hands behind his back and holds his hands when he's going into challenges,
Yeah.
even when he's tackling on the end line. He's making sure that he's not going to get called for a handball somewhere in the box. Um, just not the kind of defending we're used to. I think our defensive fragilities for a long time have been on display for a number of years, and it's always a talking point of Arsenal is what's going on in the back. Finally, it looks like we're shoring up the back a little bit. We got Saliba, David Luiz, Gabriel, and still got Holding and Chambers there. I know that Socrates and Kolasinac look like they're moving on, but defensively, we're shoring up the back. Tierney is a great player to accompany him. All good ball handlers, similar to what Pep has done at City, is making sure that the center backs and the wide players can handle the ball and distribute the ball well. So it'll be interesting to see the way that he mixes in there. And I looks like a good footballer. I'm excited to see him play.
Yeah. I mean, time will tell and we'll see what the starting lineup looks like against Fulham. But even if Gabriel is a flop, worst case scenario, he's a flop. Just doesn't fit in. It doesn't work out. What we've done is get two center backs.
Finally.
We've needed it for so long.
Yeah.
The defense is not, the spine is not there. The defense is not there. And then we just never addressed it.
Wenger needed to buy center backs like since Senderos and Squillaci and those guys were all there. He never did it. It's like he never paid attention ever since Sol Campbell and Tony Adams and stuff were gone. We haven't really like shored up that back. Colatura, yeah, we haven't really like shored up the back there. It's always been a weakness of ours. That's why we'll get beat by teams like Barcelona 6-0 and stuff, because like we can attack well, but we can't defend. And so now we finally look like a defensive force. The teams have been struggling since Arteta's been in charge. We haven't conceded very many goals, which is a difference of what we're seeing in our term of Arsenal supporters. Like, we're used to goals going in and scoring a bunch of goals, but we're used to getting scored on too, and that's not really the case now.
Yeah, clean sheets, tight, compact defending. Yeah, and teams are not going to want to experience it. I mean, they're used to having a little bit of a free reign with Arsenal, and now they're going to face a side that's expecting them, and they're going to find it hard, I think.
They will, yeah.
And just the fact that we're addressing the problem finally, because like Liverpool, they were a good team, but their keeper was garbage, and they needed a center defender
to like shore him up in the Allison, back. They did it. Yeah.
They got Allison and Virgil van Dijk, and that literally changed the team entirely.
Totally.
If you have that security in the back, I mean, if you're worried about if your keeper's going to give up a fluke goal, and your defense doesn't know what they're doing, you're never really that confident when you attack. But
And I think that's what Gabrielle's going to bring to us. You know, he's 6'3". He's a big dude.
is he 6'3"?
He's 6'3". He's built
What?
well.
I
Yeah,
thought
he's a
he was,
big.
for some
Yeah,
reason I thought he was shorter, but
he's a big boy. And he looks sturdy. Just, you know, I love that he played with Pepe at Lille, and they know each other well. So you got that connection. They're friends from what I understand and what I've read. Um, I like his attitude. He spoke to Arteta. Arteta personally called him and persuaded him to come. Told him, I rate you. I think you're a great player. I think I can add a
another
lot to
great
your game.
touch.
Yeah, like I mean, I know that Wenger used to do that in the day, but I think he did start to let the board take care of those things more, and the backroom staff handle the transfers. But I think when the manager calls you and tells you specifically wants you to come to the club, that speaks volumes, and tell him he's part of his plans and that he's going to be a starter. So you got to love the system that we might have going on. We have a rotation of people that are going to fight to get in the team. You know, when you start, and all of a sudden, you know, Holding ended the season as maybe one of the players that was going to be there, but it's not even sure that he will make it into the team anymore. So these players are going to have to be better in training. It's only good for the team to add quality.
Definitely. Yeah. And another thing about Gabriel, which is just like with Willian, was that like Jose Mourinho wanted Willian to come to Tottenham. So he had other offers. I'm sure anyone in the Premier League would have taken Willian knowing what he is. Proven winner, won the league before, still in good shape. He's that kind of utility player plus, you know, where he's not maybe going to be the star, but he'll get you assists. He can score a free kick. He doesn't really mess up. He can cross the ball.
A true professional. I mean? A true professional. Like, yeah, I think when I think of Willian, I don't think of any antics off the field. He's just this
pretty
this
mild mannered.
Yeah,
soft spoken.
Probably a really nice person. Just does his thing, goes to training, plays, gets the job done. Is going to show up and be serious. Like, and you know, I think he'll fit in well with the Arsenal system and the players there.
For sure. And there was the thing too, psychologically, is that there were other teams that wanted him, particularly Tottenham and Jose Mourinho. But he flat out chose Arsenal. You know what I mean?
And as you naturally would there, wouldn't you?
Of course. But same thing with Gabriel. Like Everton, okay, you would hope that someone would choose Arsenal over Everton. But then Man U was coming in. So you have Man U and Tottenham, which regardless of how shit teams they really are and shit clubs, those are still teams that are in the quote-unquote top 6 or fighting for top 4 who believe that they deserve to be challenging for the title just as much as Arsenal believes that. And you have players that flat out specifically chose Arsenal. So that sends a message. You know, how many years would there be players that chose different teams over Arsenal? And then you just go in with that little bit of hurt, you know, that little bit of blow to your confidence that like, oh, they wanted to go to Chelsea because they think Chelsea's going to win. Like, they don't think Arsenal's going to win. They don't have confidence in Arsenal. But now,
remember a big one, Juan Mata, perfect example of that. We were leading the chase. Like, he didn't even want to go to the Premier League until Arsenal turned his interest into the Premier League, and then he chose United.
Yeah.
Or no, he chose
Chelsea.
He chose Chelsea. Yep,
yeah.
He chose Chelsea.
And how many times did that happen?
Happened.
We would go and scout a player, build up this interest, and then Man U would be like, you know what? Yeah, we'll take him. No, come with us. We'll give you the money. We'll sort everything out. We have big players also. You don't have to worry about that stuff that Arsenal does where it's boring and, you know, not flashy at all. Or Jose Mourinho will give you a call and talk to you and say, you're part of my plans, that sort of thing. You know, how many times did that happen where we were on the losing end of it? So now to have Gabriel and Willian come, it just sends that little message to the other teams like, no, they chose Arsenal. They see Arteta. That aura is starting to grow around Arteta where people are going to face Arsenal and think we should lose. And that's huge. I mean, when
Yeah,
you see with Pep, where if you played a Pep Guardiola team, you just went in there saying, we're probably going to lose today.
yeah.
You
You're
know, they're
and
too good. He's too comprehensive,
mhm.
you know. So we're starting to build that, which is maybe the best thing about it so far. But hopefully we'll see Gabriel play and there'll be a new partnership in the middle, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, I think that they're, I mean, shoring themselves up in the back. We have two prime goalkeepers to pick from. Now we got some center back selection. I mean, Tierney on the left, we rate him. I think he's going to be a really good player. Uh, Strong, solid, passes the ball well. And I just think that the more and more that we keep adding players of that caliber is a good thing. And, you know, with Gabriel, he can score. I mean, he won a number of aerial battles in the clips that I watched about him, and he looks like he has an eye for goal as well. So we'll get some goals out of him.
A couple of assists from Pepe to Gabriel at Lille.
Yeah,
That'd be great to see.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess the
and
only defensive question almost now is right back. Like,
yeah, and what that's going to look like. And you know, I haven't seen anyone talking about coming as a right back replacement for Bellerin, unless unless Arteta has plans just to have Niles play there and have Chambers or Holding slot out there as the extra,
or
because that
Cedric,
could.
which I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
really
Cedric. Yep.
been able to see what Cedric has to offer,
Yeah.
but I mean, he looks fit. And that's another thing too, even watching the training videos, like the Arsenal players are a little bit bigger, you know,
Yeah.
like
They're getting
legs are
bigger.
bigger.
Yep.
And I think that, I mean, you see Mikel Arteta, he could play professionally right now. He could go to the MLS and be a player. He's
Oh yeah,
still fit.
and you know he's still good. Like he just slowed down. He's only 37. He easily could still play.
And he was a dude that's just always fit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just
Yep.
fit as a
Yep.
fiddle.
Yep.
And he demands that of his players, especially at City. I mean, those players, if you weren't in shape, it's just you're not even considered.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
and
if
I think
Kevin De
and that
Bruyne's like 5 pounds overweight, he's just not considered. So
yeah.
they have to be fit. That makes such a difference. And there was Arsenal squads in the past that were just like, dudes look like there's no definition in their legs. Like they're skinny. They're just out there being talented footballers. But it's like you got to be strong. You got to have
Oh
that
yeah.
strength.
Oh yeah. Arteta, you know, I, it sends a message to the rest of the team as well. When you sign a player, you know, a defender for 27 million who's 22 years old, you're signing a young player that can be at the club for a long time. Maybe he'll maybe have some like great success, and we'll hold on to him for the whole time. And that gives a good message to Aubameyang as well, who's still hasn't announced a contract extension. Uh, I feel like it is coming at some point when we can talk about it more when we get to the transfer section. But you know, when it's got to give him some good ammunition to want to stay at the club when we're making moves. We're buying players that are going to fit into the system well and give him the support that he needs so that we win more games. You know, ideally, this is, you know, Aubameyang loves Arsenal. We know that. We know he loves it there. If he didn't, he would have left already, and this wouldn't have been a deal. He's considering staying to ride out the remainder of his career, probably in the team and become a legend as Arsenal. But he wants to know that we're going to win games and that we're going to put some more trophies in the cabinet for him. And I think as we shore up the team, we're making ourselves not just top four potentials, but more, you know, title contenders as well. Not saying that we have a great chance to win the title this year. Still some really good competition with City and Liverpool, and Chelsea's going to be very strong. And you can never count out United in this. But we're going to be up there. We're going to be contending. I'm sure of it that we're going to be a top four contender in this and in this mix. And this team with the belief and the growth, they're going to be strong.
Well, Arteta told Willian that we want to make the Champions League your first year, and the third year we want to win it. And people
Yeah,
might be saying like that's a joke, but you have to have that attitude.
you
I mean,
do.
if you don't have the attitude that you want to win the Champions League, then why are you a professional footballer? You know,
Exactly.
like
And the
fuck off.
caliber of club that we are, we should be contending for those things. We have the second largest stadium in England. I mean, there's no reason that we shouldn't be the top team or the third largest. Tottenham had to pip us by like 1,000 seats, but like that doesn't count. They never sell that stadium out anyway, even without coronavirus. So, um, when it comes to those things, like Jurgen Klopp, when he took over at Liverpool, they weren't contending for the league overall. They were a top four team, kind of falling on the fringe a little bit. They weren't winning Champions League. He won the Champions League with them now and has won the league in a 4-year project. That's what it takes. It
Yeah.
takes a building system. This is Arteta's first full year. He's not going to get everybody he wants in this window. He's not going to get everybody out that he doesn't want in this window.
It's a strange season anyway, because
Yep.
you're basically playing 2 seasons in a row without any real stop. There's no preseason, there's no friendlies, barely any training sessions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and coming off of they won a title, they won a trophy, they won 2. The last 2 games, they won 2 trophies in a row. They're going to start the league off on a high. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, Leicester was 5,000 to 1 odds to win the league when they won, and no one would have ever guessed that they would have done what they did. So, not saying that we can win the league, but we can definitely be contenders. So,
Yeah.
I think you got to string together results and a defensive.
Your attitude has to be, we want to win the league, because you'll probably fail. But if your attitude is to win the league, then if you fail and get second, then you know what you need to do to improve, to get over the hump. And Liverpool had a lot of heartache, losing the final of Europa League, then a Champions League final, coming up second place to Man City when they had to win 14 games in a row. Like, that's a lot of brutal heartache, but they kept pushing. And it still took a while. It took 4 years. It's not an easy thing ever. It's a brutally hard thing. But if your intention isn't to win the league from the beginning,
what are you doing?
Yeah, you'll never do that. So I believe Arteta, when he has those ambitions, it's going to be really hard, because I don't think the boardroom is ever going to support that kind of thing. But But it's a marked improvement. Gabriel signing, total positive for me.
Totally, agreed. Who else is as we discuss more transfers right now? We got a lot of discussions going on, lots of names being circled around and ins and outs. Who's struck your eye this week in wise?
Even just in today, I haven't really been hearing about players that were linked with signing. There's a few like random midfielders from around Europe, and like Hassem Ouar, which I don't think they're not going to sell him for
I don't think
less
they're going
than
to sell
45.
him. Yeah, and I saw this week that he's more interested in Juventus. That's where he really wanted to go. That's one of those ones I feel like we get leagued with French league players a lot, and that's always been the case, even from the Wenger era. He's a good player, but I agreed. We'd have to pay out of odds for him. The Coutinho one still isn't going away. I think the Messi situation still needs to get resolved. And
it seems like today that Messi says he's reluctantly going to stay. I don't know if you saw that. What he said, he was like, "Oh, I really wanted to leave. They say I can't leave, so I guess I'm going to stay." And it's like,
and I think next summer it sounds like it's a sure thing. He can leave for free, or they're working out a deal to have that happen. It always seems like it's going to be a hard one. His buyout clause, 700 million euros. Who's going to pay that?
But it comes down to Barcelona being like, and this is something that Arsenal does all the time. It's like, okay, run it down. He leaves on a free.
Yeah.
You want some money for him? Then
take 100.
Like, you're not going to get 700 million. No one's going to pay that. So
no, and it's complete. You'll never get your investment back out of that. Like 100 million, sure. I think at this point, let him go for 100. He's 33. It'd be some good business by Barcelona. They never really paid for him. He was a child when he joined there. They've only made money off of him. Selling him for 100 is an extra and is an extra little payment that they'd pretty much give themselves some breathing room for a little bit.
Yeah.
I understand them wanting to hold on to him, win a few more things, make some money, but well, if he stays there, that's a good thing for us. It looks like a fire sale going on at Barcelona in general with Rakitic was 1.5 to Sevilla.
Very
Seems
strange.
really seems really low. Um, you know, all the things going on there. I feel like Coutinho is an option. I'd say swap Guendouzi for him. Get Guendouzi out. They still don't want him. He's not part of the plans. I haven't seen anything of him being able to U-turn it at Arsenal this summer. He posted something for the first time today about France national team and didn't. They noted in the article that he didn't post on the FA Cup winning day or the Community Shield. So he looks to be as good as trying to get out of there as well. So I think that they should do everything they can to push him along and try to shore up a deal for Coutinho if they can make that possible.
That would be ideal. If we could somehow move him on to get even Thiago or Coutinho,
Another
player
Brazilian in
that
there.
an attacking midfielder like Coutinho, though, will really just, I think that's what we're missing, like someone to play in that 10 above the two defensive midfielders. But, I mean, that would be fantastic. It's really sad when you think about Guendouzi because he's just written off. He's been a brat. His attitude's horrible. But when you look at him, you're like, man, at one point we were really, really excited about it.
He was
Young dude,
performing. Yeah,
yeah, young dude who's not afraid out there. Is showing
worked
some
hard.
skill. Yeah, it's like it's a shame, but if we could move him on to get someone like Coutinho, you don't know what the situation is really at Barcelona.
Yeah, and it seems like Coutinho posted a photo back in training at Barcelona, as you do. Like they, just showing that he's being a professional. It sounds like he wants out. I think, it's a natural solution for him. He wants to go back to the Premier League. We're kind of the only team really like considering him right now, and we need him. They need to get Ozil off the books still. They need to do what they can to subsidize his wages. I keep seeing different reports of different options that could happen. So hopefully by October when the window closes, they found a solution for him so he can go do whatever he needs to do and we free up some money. I think El Neni's still on the way out.
Because
Bellerin.
Ceballos looks like he's coming back. So
Yeah, and Ceballos coming back is good. He can fill into that CDM role as well. Torreira, I saw a report that he accepted some personal terms in Italy, it looked like again, going back that direction. So we'll see. We'll see. Torreira looks likely to leave.
yeah.
We're freeing up a lot of money though if all these players do leave. So they should reinvest some of that. I still hope that we hold on to Laka. I know that they're talking about a swap deal between Laka and Partey at Atletico, but I'd like to see us hold on to Laka in having some options just with attack-wise and all the games that we have coming down the line and get Partey. Why don't we do both? I don't understand the swap on that one. You're trading an attacking player for more of a holding midfielder. Doesn't make a lot of sense on that.
Can we find a formation with Laka, Abba, Pepe, all in the same starting
Same team?
Yeah. Some combination where those players can play at the same time, because I feel like if all of them are firing, then that's a dangerous lineup right there.
Would you have Willian in that team too?
Yeah, probably. I mean, ideally, it's just hard with
sat in behind Laka.
Yeah, as like maybe like I was like playing with this idea of a 4-2-4, where it's like 4 in the back,
it's
two,
aggressive.
Yeah, it's crazy, but like just 2 center defensive midfielders, and then you have like a diamond. So you basically have like 3 in the midfield.
Yep.
And you still have 2 wingers, but are more offensive minded, but they're who are being covered by a right back and a left back who will also do overlapping runs.
You'd free up the forward as well with that. He'd have that room to roam in the middle, and be able to make those diagonals. You
Yeah,
get
and the
get
wingers
in
can
on
kind of
breakaways.
pinch in and play more of that role. And then you have that diamond in the back with the the offensive midfielder who's just like controlling those three up top. Someone like Coutinho or Willian or one of those, a creative midfielder, you know?
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like an interesting system. I love I love all the options they're creating with if we hold on to Lacazette, and you still got Pepe probably finding some better form this season, second season. You know, some players, you know, they really do settle in that second year, and they start to be like, oh, I've been here for a year now. I know what to expect. I know what the league's like. I know what the games are going to look like.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what this whole was last year. I didn't really
Or do
speak
they have a
English.
house now where before they're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in a hotel room or something like
So
that?
sometimes they stay in hotels or Airbnbs for a while, and that's unsettling until they find somewhere they really want to live. And now they've got established connections at the team. And then you even got a new player in for Pepe, you know, a former friend. I guess him and Gabriel were friends at Lille, so that's great. You know, I love what Arteta's doing as well as being really mindful of a team's environment. And team environments, as you know, are important. You know, as a player, when the team's clicking and everybody's friends, everybody plays better.
Right.
You communicate better, you treat each other better, you have each other's back in a system that and it works better. You know, I guarantee all those Liverpool players and the Man City players from the year before, they're all friends. I bet you there's not a lot of outcasts in those teams of players that aren't getting along.
Because
That doesn't.
usually, if you're an outcast in a situation like that, it's because you're not playing.
Yep.
You know, like
Or
naturally, if you're
or you're causing
playing, doing
problems.
well, the friendship grows, and you want to keep that going to have more fun, so you play better. Yeah, it just kind of snowballs when you have that environment. And I agree, Arteta he's mindful of that, which is so important because so much of it
Yeah.
is mental.
It is. It's a mental game. It's all about confidence. It's about connections. It's about like trusting the opponents and your or trusting your teammates. You want to make sure that when you give the ball to your teammate that you're gonna either gonna get the ball back or they're gonna do the right thing with the ball. You know, make the right decision. We know this. You how many times you've been on the field, you pass the ball to somebody and you know it's not going to end well for the system. You know, you want to make sure that whoever is in there is going to be able to do what needs to happen to make the system work. And he's picking quality players first and then making sure that they work in that system with what he wants.
Yeah, and Aubameyang and Lacazette, best friends.
Best, yeah.
I would hope for that friendship to continue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Laka didn't have the greatest season last year. He wasn't. He didn't have flop level season. He still did good
Still
things.
scored goals. Yeah.
Or against Tottenham, a blistering shot. That's the kind of
Oh
goal
yeah.
score that can really turn around the fortunes of a season or get people fired up again. He's capable of doing that, show-stopping stuff, and that's why I just want him and Pepe and Alba all to be firing. If they all get on Alba's page,
Oh,
watch out. Watch
it's
out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that front three could be devastating. It could be similar to Mane, Salah, and Firmino. I mean, there's and then behind them you got Saka, Nketiah, Martinelli, Willian, all these guys that are like going to contribute to that system as well. Throw Coutinho in that mix, maybe Partey, Ceballos in there. I mean, you're looking at a pretty good team coming into this season. And I listen to Talk Sport kind of a lot, and if you know this ever circulates, Andy Goldstein was just barreling through Arteta, saying he's a United supporter and was just ripping him, saying I don't see where he's done a good job, or that Arsenal fans should think that they can contend for the top four. And a lot of callers are calling in saying like, how do you not see that? Because the system in place is proving to be effective. They're not conceding goals, and they've put together a string of wins against really big teams. You know,
And what is
who didn't struggle during the pandemic in this restart of no fans and learning how that was going to work. I think everybody is understanding now of what it's like, and going to just build on it and move forward. So I can't see us, I would fancy us against United right now. I would love to see this Arsenal team play Manchester United right now.
Man United is delusional right
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
They're absolutely delusional. They wanted Sancho, and they just expected Sancho to be super excited about going to play for Manchester United. And you look at Sancho, and he's like, no, I don't want to go. Why would you want to go?
No,
Why would the best player, he might be the best young player in the world, one of the top players in the world. He had something like 17 goals and 17 assists in the Bundesliga. Why does he want to go to Man United?
Definitely the top British player right now, I would say, coming through.
Sure.
That's going to be the next up and coming. He's going to give Sterling a run for his money on who's the better player out of the two of them. Agreed. He's going to be very good. So he wants to pick a top team.
Yeah, and Man United just assumed it's like, oh, we're going to get him. Like, of course, it's like, dude, this is not Ferguson era where people would drop anything to go play for Manchester United. It's not. They're not that squad. They're going to be tough. They have some players, but I don't know. I'm not worried about Manchester United. I think if we play Manchester United right now, we smash them.
And I think Ole, he's got a bit lucky with the squad he has in general. Pogba's not performing. Pogba always seems like he wants out. That's surprising that he hasn't left this summer already, because I would have expected that one to happen. But I don't know that Ole is managing the team the same way that Arteta is managing the team. Arteta's building a team that is going to like him, respect him, and also like each other. And I don't see that from Ole. Like, I don't see him as the long-term solution for Manchester United. I see him as the temporary Band-Aid that they have on the system that they've been doing since Sir Alex left.
Yeah.
And been at a loss for who's going to take them forward. They tried Mourinho, they tried Louis van Gaal, they tried a number of other people, that just seem to not work out every year. And I'm not concerned about them. I think the more concerning team that's on the rise is Chelsea. Probably they're making moves in the market and they're signing some big players. So they'll be one to watch out for, I think.
Apparently, coronavirus didn't affect Chelsea at all because they're just buying players. Abramovich just seems to have an endless amount of money that he's like, what's your price? Okay, I can do that. I have like $20 billion. So if it's 90 million for Havertz, okay, 90 million. Apparently that's going to get finalized.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah. Werner's in.
They're still paying pre-COVID numbers for players, locking them down. And then everyone else is talking about, 17 million, 1.5 million, or with add-ons and all this bullshit. And they just said, like, Ziyech was like 45 or 55. Werner was 55. Havertz is about to be 90 or some shit. Like,
yeah, they're making moves. They're definitely trying to put together a team.
Chilwell as well.
Ben Chilwell.
I don't think it was undisclosed, but it was like 50 or something like that. Like,
it'll be an interesting few weeks. I hope we get another deal over the line this week. I would love to see something else happen before the start of the season. Obviously that player that comes in probably won't jump right into the team, but you'd hope that. I'd like to see Gabriel start. Should we talk about Fulham and what's coming down, the first fixture and coming up? I'd love to see Gabriel in that first game get a first cap. I don't know if he will, but we'll see.
Yeah, or Saliba. Saliba looked pretty disappointed to be on the bench for the Community Shield. I don't know if he was available to play, but he seemed like he was kind of like, I want to get on. I want to start playing.
Yeah, I can see where not starting him in a game like that. It's a big game. It's an unfamiliar foe of a team that just won the league. Yeah, and you've never played in this league, and throwing you in as a center back against a big boy that, like, they're good. Liverpool punished you. Like, they were fun to watch this season. They were devastating when they were on. You can only give them praise. I've always liked them as a team, and they they really deserve to win the league. I'm happy that they got it done. And
Yeah.
to start against them, that's a rough first game.
Especially if you're playing three in the back with one central defender, and that's your, you're alone.
You're the guy. You're the guy.
Yeah, that'd be. But just sometimes I wish we could put more players in the defense, or more players in the midfield, or more up top, because we have a lot of options.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still Pablo Mari. He's tall, strong.
He's a big, yeah.
I mean, he might be really good. We don't know. He got injured in the first 20 minutes of his career, but he could be good. And
he could, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what the starting 11 is.
Yeah.
But I think who would you
go with what we currently have?
Oh, it's really hard to say. But I was going to say that one thing about the Community Shield that was a positive as well is that, maybe I would put like Abba and Laka and Pepe, and I want all our names and all the firepower and offensive minded, And then you put a team like what we fielded for the Community Shield, and I was, it's not like the most showy, but they still won. So
still won, yeah.
Like, there might be players that we aren't even considering that will play well for Arteta and for the side.
Oh, yeah. I think all the big names aren't just the standard players that he's going to pick each time. I think like we've already seen it. Like Saka is going to be a starter sometimes, and Nketiah is going to be a starter. And I mean, we got a number of options. Reece Nelson, all these dudes that like fit into what they've been the system, and they know the system, and he is going to have some selection issues. That's why I just don't see Mesut Ozil getting into the team, even if he was going to try. So,
in any figuration, you're trying to squeeze in Lacazette,
Yes. Yeah.
And you're trying to find out how Pepe and Saka can also play. And then because Martinelli's injured, if he wasn't injured, you would be trying to fit Martinelli into the starting lineup. That's how I think of it.
Oh, yeah.
So
you want him in there.
Like 5 or 6 midfielders and forwards. None of them are Mesut Ozil. And none of it is a combination with Ozil. Like, best case scenario, he could be that a Coutinho player who plays behind the 3 forwards, just feeding them through balls and passes and whatnot. But he can't do that. He won't be able to do that because he won't defend. And we also have too many other players that we got to fit in. I would put Lacazette any day on the field over Mesut Ozil.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And it's interesting, even with fantasy this year, they have Aubameyang down as a midfielder on there, which I thought was
I know that threw me for a loop. I was
me too. So where's Auba?
Team, and I was like, what the hell?
You put him in your team? I did.
Captain.
Yeah, same. You have to, because he's gonna score goals every week. He's gonna get you points. He's a deliberate and on purpose striker. He makes it happen each week. So
hands down, my favorite player in the world right now is Aubameyang. Without a doubt.
I love his attitude. I follow him on Instagram. I love his attitude. He seems like a happy, joyous person, and humble. I love humble. Yeah, I love it. Even though he's flashy, he's humble. He seems to really bring the team together. It's really important to keep him. I can't stress it enough.
What he wants.
Give him what he wants. Yeah, he'll be there. I would say, let him ride it out. Let him ride it out till he's gonna retire, and we never do that.
Retire at Arsenal.
Yeah, we never do that.
There's players that we let go that if they would have retired at Arsenal, we would have won a couple more leagues.
Yeah.
Patrick Vieira, Van Persie, Thierry Henry. The reason why they left, there's various different reasons. Some of them not getting what they wanted ambition-wise. Others we just let go when they didn't want to go,
Yeah.
I think Henry was there and he was like, I think I'm kind of holding everyone back because everyone's looking for me to do it all, So it was kind of his time to leave. But
and he knew he had a better chance at winning Champions League at Barcelona at the time, so had to go jump that. Yeah, but I mean, you got to hold on to him right now.
And
I think
the
also with that,
linchpin gives us that confidence on the field. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
and keep Lacazette with him to keep him happy. Or it's widespread news that he's really wants Dembele from Barcelona to come join him. So whatever you got to do, I mean, Barcelona looks like they're willing to get rid of everybody right now at some cost. The pandemic hit them really hard, and I know that they need the money. That's why I'm also surprised that they're not willing to take the 100 million for Messi, because they should take that and cut their losses and kind of just rebuild the program. They got enough youth teams coming through that they could start over and just rebuild it and go from there. You know, they even have enough players at the team that they could build off what they have and get some players out that aren't important to Koeman at this point.
yeah. Well, I'd rather be at Arsenal now than
And
Barcelona, which is
yeah,
crazy to say because Barcelona looks like they're a mess, and
yeah,
Arsenal is definitely trending in the right direction
for the first time in a long time.
for sure. Starting lineup against Fulham, though, I feel like there's so many combinations. I wouldn't even know if I
Keep
was
Martinez, keep Martinez on the team.
keep Martinez. Don't sell Martinez.
Yeah,
Even
and
another for goalie.
Leno's fit, but I think like he's on his way back to full fitness. I think he kind of lost his number one position for a little bit. And I like Leno's a solid, really
For sure.
good goalkeeper.
For sure.
I think he's a top player. I mean, a bit unfortunate timing for him, and Martinez really made the most of it. You can't take that away from that dude. That dude deserves a new contract. He deserves to stay. I would start him.
Dude, the way he played against Community Shield and the whole time that he's played since Leno got injured, he's too good.
He's
He makes the other team lose confidence because they're
he does.
like,
Mhm.
he's all over the place. He's not giving us a sniff at the goal. You know,
He's
he shut
big.
down Mane.
He's big. He's really
He
big.
distributes, confident.
Commanding.
Keep
It,
him. He's the number one keeper. I love
mhm.
Leno as well. He was the best player for a long stretch of the season. Him and
Yeah.
Aubameyang were the only players showing up for a long stretch of the season. Unlucky, mate. You know,
Yeah.
unlucky. You got injured. Someone came in and started bawling. You can't just be like, we don't owe Leno something, but
Mm.
keep them both for sure.
Keep them both. Keep them both. Play them both. I mean, we never see it in the Premier League. I wish I would see some more healthy rotation of the goalkeepers, even in the league. Like, why not rest him? You got two really good goalkeepers. You know, play one in the League Cup sometimes, play one in the FA Cup. You got Europa League to play for. You got a lot of different competitions. There's a lot of room to be mixing both of them in. I
Yeah.
mean, I would rotate them.
And if Leno is our cup goalie, then that's just more confidence
Yeah.
you have going when you go into the League Cup and you can play some of the younger guys, but you're going to have Leno in goal. It's just already sending messages like we have too much quality. We're going to destroy you.
Exactly. We have I would love to see that. Tierney's going to start on the left. I'd
Yeah.
love to see Gabriel start if he's fit. I mean, I know he doesn't know the system all that well. He's got a week and a couple days to learn it, but it's defending.
I
And
think
I think he could start first game. I don't think he will, but I'd love to see it.
him or Saliba, it'd be nice to
Yeah.
just show like, okay, because when you get a new player and they don't play for a while, it just kind of wastes the flavor a little bit.
It does. I think Saliba will start. I think Luis is probably in that team somewhere too.
Saliba, Luis, and then
Bellerin might not be gone yet, so I'm guessing they would probably start him or Niles. Maybe give Niles a go there.
yeah,
If Bellerin's looking like he's gonna leave this summer.
yeah, which I think it's time. I think it's he
a
doesn't
good time to cash in on him.
Yeah, cash in on him.
Yeah, and then you got and through the middle, Ceballos, Xhaka. Well, Ceballos if he comes back in time, but you got Xhaka. Oh man, it's selection issues, huh?
Yeah, so what do you do? The 4-3-3
Yeah.
or 4-2-3-1?
4-2-3-1 is
4-2-3-1. So we have the defense that we lined out with Maitland-Niles on the right. Then Xhaka and El Neni or Xhaka and Ceballos, depending on who's around. And I honestly, I would take either one.
Yep.
And then the 3 other midfielders, Saka. Who's on the right? Who's in the middle? Pepe.
Pepe,
Yeah, Pepe
Pepe,
for sure.
Abba, and Laka.
Abba and Laka.
So,
Well,
I mean, I'd love to see that first game at Craven Cottage, which you're right, we always play well there. Great little stadium. I'd love to see us come out, get a solid, resounding first day win, show that championship team coming back into the Premier League what it's all about again.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen one of we used to get it years ago, like a 6-0 thrashing like at Everton the first day of the season and just bury them. You'd love to see something like that, like just a resounding win to really start off the league and make a statement from the beginning. And the form that they've been in, you can't write them off. We beat Liverpool last week. So, and 2 weeks before that, we beat Chelsea. And 2 weeks before that, we beat Man City.
And beat Liverpool.
Yeah, and beat Liverpool.
Liverpool the last 2 times. That's how many teams can say that? How many teams?
Our run of form is Liverpool. Our run of form is Liverpool twice in a row. Man City, Chelsea.
That's a great way to walk into the new season with a couple.
Oh yeah. You can't write them off at this point. That's for sure.
For sure.
So, well, great second episode. Enjoyed it. Lovely chat.
Stuff,
Tune in next Friday, and
every Friday.
Every Friday.
Time, same day.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll be able to talk about some more signings, and then we'll be looking forward to the first game of the season. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. And if anybody ends up joining the channel and starts to tune in, and we want to see topic discussions and our take on things, feel free to comment on the posts, and feedback is always welcome.
Yeah, let us know.
All right. Yeah. All right. Tune in next time.
All right, mate. Take care. Peace.
Yeah, you too, mate. Have a good weekend, bud.
You too.
Bye.